Third quarter party organization committee, we welcome all of y'all who are watching online who can't be here with us today. So everybody smile. Say cheese. Cheese. Thank you, Troy. So now we have almost 3 years later, we still have over 100 county parties who do not have an online presence. They don't have a website. I think we're lucky if they have an email. So I don't know if it's by design or if it's by I just don't know. But we need to help these county parties get to this point and reach out to all the people. I think one of the major reasons why Dallas County is blue is because it was so red at first, and we said, oh, you don't have to do anything, you can just be a precinct chair, all you have to do is work in it. And now look at what we've come to. It's happened in Bexar County, it's happened in Travis, oh God forbid, but Harris County, all the big, and I think this is a big part of, we just thought we were in a safe zone, we didn't have to work it, and by not working at the Democrats, they don't stop. They lose and they're right back at it the next day like little beavers trying to bring their immediate area down. So, so we're trying to focus on getting these county chairmen to have a presence and also to put some structure in their parties. Some of them don't even have a board. They don't have but 4 precinct chairs. And it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around it. But Edie Sinclair, when she was on this committee, she made me realize that here I have North Dallas as an SRAC. Only North Dallas, I have a 20-minute drive to go to anybody I want to reach in my Senate District 16. And my gosh, I don't know how she managed to clone herself. All of the SRACs, I have such a deep respect for the territory that y'all have to cover. So this can only help our SRACs in the rural areas, SDs. I mean, I don't know how you do it.
Well, believe me, it was 85% Dion, 15 me. Trust me. She was the gas.
She is a force with which to reckon. I guarantee you. So we really miss her. I look forward to meeting your new counterpart.
She's great, also. She'll just slide by on it and you
Awesome. What's her name?
Rachel Horton.
Oh, that's your counterpart. Okay, I've heard that name. So
She's already making appearances and we're tag team appearances. It's going well.
Okay, well, moving on along, we've got another, we had an attempt to rework the county chairman's manual about 3 years ago in 2018. And this ended up being I don't know if it was a battle between TRCCA's County Chairman's Manual and the RPT County Chairman Manual. And I think they just slammed them together and ended up with a Bible that's fairly large. So I'd like to kind of tackle that in our committee meetings over the next 2 years. Any ideas? We'd love to have you, but I think they maybe turned it into large font, and it's a lot. It's like 160 pages now. So I don't know if we can fix that. If we can go back and take the most important pieces out of both and put it back into something that you don't need a wagon to cart on with you. But thank goodness for the online version. So if we can address that. We'd also, in the past couple of years, Becky Green and I had tried to help Jen Paul with the reorganization of the exclusive content that's on our website. There's so much great information in there. Some of it had been, become outdated, just because the year changed. So we were trying to take the tags off of it with the years and just kind of clean it up. There are some people who weren't even, connected with the RPT anymore, who had worked on it, and their names were in there, and nobody knows who they are to point out any adjustments or updates. And there was a lot of duplicates in there that we tried to point out to Jen Hall in order to get that kind of cleaned up, easier to follow. There's so much good information in there, a lot of precinct chair training, anything you can use within your SDs. But we kind of left it, we don't really know which ones that Jen has updated and what she hasn't gotten around to yet, because ultimately, the buck stops with Jen, because she's a party organization director. So we just need to kind of get her to bless whatever we did before and ask her input on what we need to change or any updates, because Jen has a lot on her plate now, I'm sure y'all are all aware. Not that she didn't before, but probably a lot. And she's always so willing to answer everybody's question. I don't know what I'd do without her, to be quite honest with you.
Well, to clarify, so you're saying that we give direction to put the contents of the county chair manual, but Jen's the one who actually puts it together?
Well, we had collaborated with the TRCCA in order to, and I think what ended up being on there is just something that got slammed together at the last. I don't think anybody really even looks at that when they still revert back to the old TRCCA. I don't think TRCCA ever blessed it or approved it, or, so we just need to kind of revisit where we left it and
So
see.
if we offered revisions and corrections to Jen, but it gets done by Jen?
Yeah, the final say so is, because she's got a lot of history. She's been a county chair, and she's just, she's got the drill down. So we need to make sure that it doesn't contradict party rules and they don't conflict. So I don't know where we are with that. So we just need to kind of have maybe one of our meetings in the future. Yeah, sure.
Who else besides myself are county chairs on this part, on this committee? Am I the only one?
I'm an executive director for Dallas County, and so I work very closely with Jennifer Stoddard Boyden, who is also an attorney. And so she and I work very closely with Jen all the time. So.
It seems like this is probably an important object for us to tackle. Could everybody in the committee get a copy of this manual?
I think it's online on exclusive content.
Oh, boy, that's conflict.
Well, if you got, all SRACs have the code to get in there. It is code password protected. I don't, and if you don't have one, I wish I had known. I'm sure that Jen went over this
I missed them. I
in the
understand.
training, but I've forgotten what it is. The last time I tried to get in there, it didn't work. So,
I've got one kind of working.
yeah, it's very easily. Most SRACs have it, but if you're brand new this year, right?
Yes, ma'am, but I was paying attention to that part.
Yeah, good. So anyway, this is kind of where we're heading, and have I left off anything, Robin? But we wanted to prioritize getting some party structure within the county chairs and working with the county chairman. I understand now, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of county chairmen don't want any input from SRACs. You may or may not have already run into that, but we want to work with our county chairs as much as possible and grow the structure. In Dallas, we have implemented we started at pretty much baseline. There was no structure whatsoever. So we have implemented a precinct chair resource committee. We have set up bylaws committee. We have, our other, committees. We have an outreach, for our Latin community, Hispanic community up in Dallas. And we're starting to work on the African American community up there too. So, I mean, we have also put into place 1,030 election workers. And it kind of gave, one of our commissioners is extremely corrupt up in Dallas County. Maybe y'all have heard of the infamous John Wiley Price. So he's the one that escaped the money laundering lawsuit from the FBI. So he's extremely slippery. I call him John Wiley Coyote. But he had heart palpitations when we presented a list of 1,030 election workers in Dallas County. He couldn't believe we had that many workers.
I love it,
And
I love it.
I love it. You could see the wheels churning in his head.
How do I
Just
cheat
saying,
with them all watching me like that?
Yeah, our goal is to have an election worker in every one of 469 voting locations in Dallas. And that being said, we've been on a mission to recruit poll watchers. And so, being a new executive director in Dallas County, I thought, okay, why are we not training our election workers to be poll watchers as well? This way they're paid by our county tax dollars. We don't have to raise funds to pay them. They're there from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. every night. They can't be kicked out. They can't be harassed because they've been prepared adequately for working with a very, very hostile environment in some locations. That's their first order of business, is to get rid of the Republican in the election location. So we're telling them that this is their MO. You let them run you off, they won. So we're retraining our people to understand what we've been dealing with. And we have had a change of election administrators in Dallas County. And so John Wiley Price understands now that he has lost control of our elections department. So, because our elections administrator is a Democrat, but he's an attorney, and I don't think he's willing to go to jail for putting his thumb on the scale of the elections. So, he's very willing to see both sides of the equation when he's working with the Republican Party, which is a breath of fresh air, because we had a very negative, hostile elections administrator up there. So I'm sure that that's not the case all over Texas, but if we have a structure in place for getting our election workers trained and getting the word out to our precinct chairs that this is what we're dealing with, then we've got to start somewhere to regrow our base in Texas, or, as you know, we're toast. So I think we made a great start in Dallas County. We've certainly taken down the white flag of surrender there. So, but we're offering also training for our precinct chairs. We're offering them data center, GOP data center access. Before, they were never even told that they were allowed to have this access to our GOP data center. That is an amazing tool I have to look up. If I don't know somebody, I look them up in GOP data center just to know what I'm dealing with in order to prepare myself for that conversation with that person. So armed with these tools, we've got so much more energy in realizing that it's not just a title to be held. It's a mission. We're all on a mission in Dallas County. So we are hoping for some extremely positive results on November 8th at our elections. So I hope that if you have in your own SDs, if you can bring to this meeting all of the things that you are dealing with your counties. Help us identify all of the county chairs who do not have access to the internet. They don't know how to, it's an unpaid job. Some people are just there to fill a role, and maybe they don't know anything about Robert's rules. They don't know anything about computers. We need to help them get to that point so that they can reach more people in their areas. And even like in Bear County, I don't know if any of y'all are from that area. Karen Marshall, she's your SREC in Bear County. So we'll have to bring her in here and pick her brain and find out what she thinks will work, even if they're not on our committee. I encourage all of y'all to help reach out to people who are SRECs in other areas, so we can identify what they need in that SD and help them solve that problem. So, that being said, I kind of like to prioritize those goals as something we can all work on over the next 2 years. Robin, have I forgotten anything, Crankin? I mean, Robin and I are joined at the hip to help make this committee successful, and we're all a team here, so just hit either one of us anytime you all want to. We'll be having maybe a monthly meeting. I want to also identify a time that most of y'all can, I know y'all have enough meetings to chew on right now, so I hate to add another one. So if we can have a Zoom meeting of not more than an hour, once a month, just to touch base and communicate with each other. These are kind of items that you can bring in from your SDs. I would greatly appreciate it. Does anyone have any suggestions for a static time every month that most of us could attend? Certainly our understanding of familial obligations that, whatever job.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. So we had identified, our last committee met on Mondays, I think it was the first or second Monday of each month. I think it's probably the least conflicting days. I don't know, do y'all have any other ideas? We want to make this accessible to y'all.
About
Like maybe from 5 to 6 or right after supper or something. What do you think, Cheryl?
that's fine.
Is that a good time?
I just wouldn't do it during the daytime.
No, we found that we all have jobs. Most of us have jobs. So.
I'd vote for the second Monday rather than the first.
Second Monday, I think that's what we did before, and I think that probably, would you be okay with that,
Yes,
Judy?
ma'am.
Mary Jane?
I won't be able to make all of them because I have 3 city council meetings to attend on the second day of the month.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you're on 3 city council?
Well, I attend them.
They just have,
So, yes, and it's just every,
what time does your city council meeting?
one is at 6 and the other one is at 7.
So if we could squeak one in at 5 for the one
Yeah.
time? It's every week though, every
Yes,
second
because-
Monday. Well,
Yeah, I have 12 little cities that I'm manager.
oh, wow.
So first week wouldn't solve your problem.
No, I have 12 little, and it doesn't matter what day of the week.
Yeah.
So it's every, because I have, like 3 water districts, 3 school
yeah.
districts, and 12 cities.
Well, why don't we videotape it and we'll see if we
Well,
can get
I
to.
just can zoom from a parking lot too, so it's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm good with that.
You're flexible.
Yeah. So just pick a day and a time and I'll zoom in.
Okay, I do much better on a laptop than that. I know.
I got it.
I'm fine with it. phone
Monday,
Zoom meeting. Let's set it for the second
So 5
Monday.
o'clock is pretty good.
Okay, at what?
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock? That would be okay.
That would be okay.
And if you don't have a meeting, let me know. Is
I've
5
said
o'clock too early?
For most of us at work,
Yeah. Can you take off 30 minutes early?
I prefer 6 P.M.
6 PM? Okay.
Okay.
How does that fit? I mean,
That's,
we're
that's
gonna-
fine, I can just sit.
Okay, let's do 6 PM,
The second Monday?
second Monday.
Second Monday.
We'll videotape it for you, Dawn.
I'll just be there for a few minutes and be late to the other one, that's all right.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Do you have any ideas about what your proxy, can you convey that to your?
Yeah, I will, no, I don't think she has an issue with
I'm
that.
sorry, tell me again who your proxy is for?
Tony Trevino,
Tony, of course, I met her earlier.
she's from, down in Star County, Rio Grande City.
Yeah, so will you make a note, Cheryl, please, to check with Tony and let
Yeah, I'll give her the
and you'll
notes.
give her the,
Yeah, I'll give her all
the
the notes.
skivvy on the notes. Thank you so much for helping her clone herself. I'm always trying to figure out ways to clone myself too, so I totally get that,
Will
so.
we be meeting on October the 10th or November the 14th?
Well, that'll be right after the election, won't it?
Yeah.
Wow, we might have a lot of stuff to cover. Yes, November 14th, so we'll set it for November 14th and October 10th. You know, every one of my days pretty much probably looks like y'all's too, so let's put October 10th, let's,
October 10th is Columbus Day, by the way.
okay.
Indigenous persons are.
It'll always be Columbus Day to
Thank
me.
you.
Yeah, so if we can, set that and, get, the October 10th, and I would please ask y'all to, take December off. My daughter's getting married on October 14th, so,
Oh,
so
congratulations.
if I'm a little, further when we have our October 10th meeting, just understand. So, anyway, okay. I'd like to open up the floor for discussions on our goals. If there are any that I haven't addressed that y'all would like to add to our, agenda, please let us know. We'll deal with them. We may not be able to deal with them in the first few months of our committee, but we certainly will. Yes, thank you for attending, by the way.
Oh, sure, no, we talked about it a while ago.
Yeah.
For those of you I haven't met, my name is Dana Myers, I'm the vice chair now. And I have traveled all over a lot, past few weeks especially, just trying to get a sense of what's going on in the state, make sure precinct chairs are trained.
Mhm.
You weren't here yet, but I just want to give my 2 cents from some feedback I got from probably 40 counties that I've touched so far.
Good.
Everything that y'all addressed, the precinct chair, training manual, the county chair training manual needs to be updated and streamlined, which y'all are doing. May I suggest, because I was on that task force to do where the pages go back, I think with you actually, and somebody else, or maybe not you.
Not me.
About 5 of us. Anyway, what might be easier, because I was trying to figure out how to address this from a party standpoint, where I am, knowing that a lot of the county chairs don't know or they don't have, or the basics, what I might suggest, we did this, for precinct chairs, to try to put a toolkit together. So maybe a very straightforward punch list for a new county chair, literally a checkoff list. Your bylaws template, your county chair manual template, your precinct chair manual, template, and whatever else that you think you might wanna add, just something really that straightforward and simple. Make sure they understand they have a website, as y'all talked about. The other thing that I would ask from my standpoint, and I was gonna talk to Jen about this, but our level, we need to make sure we know. We need to know, I think right now we have 252 of the 254 counties have chairs that I think have been installed or will be installed this session. I think we've got 2 more we've got to find. We also need to get a handle of how many of our precinct chairs in each of these counties is filled. If that is something y'all wanna help me with, I'd appreciate it. I think if we literally created a spreadsheet of every county, we have a county chair, their contact information, which I know Jen's, I think updated all of them, but again, second verification is always good because our communication amongst each other, SREC, the county chair, the state party, to whoever, is really important. Verify that we have that contact information. If we can get their vice chair information, that would be good in case something ever happens. We need to know how many precinct chairs they have spots and how many they have filled. Because I can guarantee you, from what I've been hearing and seeing, most of them are not filled. And I know the next places we have our own problems. But these rural counties, especially the red rural counties that are keeping us red, we need to get them up to speed. And yes, sometimes it's because they don't have a budget, or they don't know, or they don't feel like they need help, or it's usually nothing malicious at all, it's just they don't have any infrastructure. So if we can provide that to them as a party, and especially your committee, that would be a godsend. You can do a lot of good for Texas. So I was just asking for that, that helped me out.
And Dr. Myers, as vice chair, is also a member of this committee, and I'm so sorry I failed to mention that when we first took roll, but please add down to the.
I didn't intend,
to
but-
the,
No, but you guys can always call me. If you hear something from your districts that's really important, besides letting Susan know, if you could let us know at the party level.
And
or-
you
Yeah.
have, because you're all over the state, and we're
Yeah.
stuck in our little SDs, so.
Well, your SDs are not little, I've seen how big they are, but, just getting the input from physically being there and seeing what they have and who shows up and what they complain about or what they need help with has been really, instructional the past 3 weeks, so.
Well, we're glad you're here, because we rarely ever had our vice chair come to our meeting.
Well, I'm trying to hit all of them a little bit, but we talked, officially.
Just to tag on, Dr. Miles, I appreciate it. So the rural counties, I do completely agree with that. I would add a couple things that some of our county chairs have asked for is like, a desktop guide on Robert's rules. What are the,
Exactly.
you know, reading the Robert's rules is a difficult thing for some folks, so
Cliff notes.
if it's
Cliff
like the
notes are
cover
Robert's
notes
rules.
or
Yeah.
just like, here are the top things you're
Yeah.
gonna need to know, you know, point of order, blah, blah, blah.
I think that's really
That
good.
would be helpful, like a cheat sheet, and then also, a sample script. Cause some of the, you
Meeting,
know, for CC meetings,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Sample agenda.
Just a sample, general script on how to conduct the meeting, and so that they can just read it and get comfortable with it, because I think a lot of.
Similar to what the convention.
Similar to the
Yeah,
conventions,
Well, the
they've asked
county
for
chairs
that.
also have
Yeah.
access to our exclusive content also.
I've had several of the, they're all brand new, especially the southern border counties, where we're just starting the Republican Party. And so they've asked, hey, is there like a sample script, you know, how are you supposed to run the meeting?
Right.
I was like, that's a great idea, I don't know if we have one.
Well, that's one of the areas we're gonna try to get to next, is between the confluence of events. As you all know, you can only be in so many places at once, but that's exactly what we're hearing from the rural counties. They just need, not the 180-page, I mean, they do need the 180-page precinct manual, but these, or the county chairman's manual, but it needs to be that long. Well, that's probably election code, I'm gonna guess, throw in there some too. But we need a book that is a reasonable size, that contains all the nitty-gritty facts, that they really can use as a resource, and that they've got plastic covers on, and they go like, yep, here's my script, and here's how I install precinct chairs, and here's the precinct chair duties, and here's the latest basic stuff that we do. We have texting, and block blocking, and explain what advantage and what campaign sidekick are, and have the tutorials embedded in there so they can watch them on YouTube. That stuff nowadays is all out there, we just need to basically put it all together in a nice package.
Organize it.
That's easy, and a lot of it exists, it's just, again, you will figure out what you think is the most pertinent, along with input from the counties.
And I think it needs to be packaged, and yes, it can go on the exclusive content. But for me, I have 13 rural counties. I am the champion for the county chair. I see that my role as supporting my county chairs. Almost all of my county chairs are less than 2 or 3 years old. So I've had this tremendous turnover. I'm not a county chair, I don't want to be a county chair, but
Come on, it's so much.
that exclusive content, I've been up and down. I think it should be packaged, there should be good graphics, it should be managed in a organized fashion. And then each SREC committee man or committee woman email that package to their county chairs, wait a week, and then follow up.
And I don't even go as far as to be bold and print it out, because I can tell you.
And print it out,
Both,
yeah.
because some people
Art
are tech, but they still want the hard printed version, but I agree, it needs to be, you know, not too crazy size, but have all those basic things, but like I said, I think most of it's
It's
out
like
there.
drinking from a fire hose for them.
It is,
I
I mean,
do
it's hard
that.
enough, even if you've
I
been doing
do
it a
that.
while, but, you know, it's just a lot of stuff.
Dr. Myers, that's
Jen
where I thought
is
about
so-
the checklist
she's so good
with
at-
actions and dates. That's a great idea, because then they just go down the line in
Yeah.
the political, you know, the election year, and they can forecast, hey, what they're gonna need when.
And also make sure, the other thing I've heard, they don't know that there's exclusive content, they don't know, about the GOP data center, and they don't know that there are these Monday night calls, or monthly Monday night calls with Jim, for the new county chairs. They don't, when
Jen has done a pretty good job of actually
She's
sending out these
They don't all
one
overlap.
step by step.
well, agreed, I'm not saying it's her, it's just me, I know how hard she's working, but again, that, not only your job, perhaps, and my job, and everybody else, but just make sure that people know the resources, because I think most people don't.
And even when Jen sends that out, a lot of times I resend it, and if their date's coming up, I resend it again, because either they haven't read it, they've missed it.
Yeah.
The two things we've run into are, we don't have verified up-to-date emails from the county chairs. So we have a wrong email.
Yep.
That's a problem.
Yep.
And then the other one was, we find it very effective for those who are to text them. Like, you know, the day before and the day. Hey, remember tomorrow night, tonight we're doing this. A simple text, simple reminder. and it gets them back.
75 to
That's been
90%
effective.
open rate versus an email, which is about
Yes.
12 to 25.
And add, just let me add the vice chairs to that.
That's why I want the vice chair's name on your spreadsheet,
Yep.
or if
That's
you
what we
want to do
do.
that. It'd be great help to everybody, I think, that way you can communicate, have your spreadsheet, know. And if you see, as an organizational group, if you see that San Saba, I'll just use that because I was yesterday or whatever, if you see that county is really lacking in everything, or they've got two of their however many county chair, or precinct chairs, then we know that, we need to send either Troy or myself or us or Jen or somebody over there to do some training. So it helps us identify what's great, what's not so great, and what we really need to rescue quickly. Okay, that's my, thank you all, I'm gonna come to the next meeting.
Thank you,
But
Hannah.
if you hear something really good, or, you know, really pertinent, send us an email, I always say send me an email from me down the road, and I always give a call, but that way we can address it or whatever we need to do. Send it off or whatever. So,
You said there's two counties that you don't have?
I think there are two, the last I checked. 'Cause we were
Kennedy
talking-
County, one?
Ask Jen, because I know that, I asked her the other day, no, Hale's got Karen Post. I talk to her all the time.
Kennedy
She's
County
probably-
is geographically a very large county, and has one highway, no
Oh,
county
yeah.
roads, no farm to market roads, no incorporated towns or cities, no jail.
Which one is it?
Kennedy County,
Kennedy,
if you go south of Kingsville, across Almost Creek, now you're in Kennedy County, all the way down to almost to Raymondville. It's just one highway.
I'll see if that's one of them, I don't know. She's got the two, but I know, because I asked her the other day when we were out, I said, if you don't know people there, let me know, because we'll either drive through and find some, or we may cross-reference with both TRCCA and TFRW and any other groups in there, all the groups. I want to tap all the grassroots groups, because they'll know who's acting, you know, whether it's TTP or whoever, these people, they will know who the activists are that are in that region most likely. I mean, that's, if you all have better ideas on how to find people that would step up and be active, let me know. But I
I don't
would
think they
suggest
have
that,
a Republican County chair or even a single precinct chair.
well, I'll look it up and ask her, but I do know that's one of the things, that's why I said, the more I learn on this 3-week, all over the place.
Now, that's my neighboring SDs, that's SD 27. And so that's Morgan Brown and Carmen Calderon.
Yeah.
I have two things that people are asking me for all the time. I'm not a tech or data person, and I wish I was. But I wish their counties, my little rural counties are getting confused through Advantage, Sidekick. You've got the GOP database, and then somebody has this database and that database, and then they think that if they don't really know about it, then there's some conspiracy in the county, or they want they have already the county database, but then they want the back end of all these other databases to compare to this database. I said, you know what, just use the one you have and go do it.
That's part of it. I just had that discussion.
Just go
actually
do
with
it.
County.
But I wish there was okay, you're gonna get sick of me saying the one pager, because I find that's what's effective. If there was a one pager on Sidekick, the Republican Party provides this to do blah, blah, blah. How do you get it?
Well, that's
Follow these instructions. Advantage, well, Advantage is with a candidate or Governor Abbott, and this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. The other thing that they're asking, and then the GOP database, they know it's there, they know how to do it, they won't do it. Andy and I have paid for thumb drives and gone, Andy's done it, I haven't, I've delivered them, but he does the work, and gotten the county's walk list from GOP database because the county chair won't do it.
I understand, yes.
And then we give those to them, whether they've used them or not, I don't know. And then the second thing is they all want to do GOTV texting. Okay, I know vendors that will do that, but it costs a lot of money.
They don't all know.
And if there was a one pager, if RPT knew how to do it, do you want to do a text program for your county? Here it is. This is how it works. Call this person, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And if we could give all those different pieces of information that they knew they come from the party, you mix and match like you're making a cake, use what's good for you. But I think they're being they hear from, and they network with other counties. So they may hear this in this county, but not in this county, and oh my gosh, there's something must be going on because our county didn't hear about it.
But then we also have to deal with very non-technical
Exactly.
people that are mixed in there too.
Yes, exactly.
And really the best form of training on those apps on our phone or whatever is actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I've been on the phone today with getting a precinct chair. She says, she won't let me finish instructing her before she's interrupting me. And I said, well, if you just let me finish what I'm trying to take. So it's just getting very frustrating.
They do, and I actually had this discussion, yes, I'll name him because he threw out some stuff on me this weekend on Steve Armbruster from Williamsville, posted
Yes.
over TRCCA about something he thought was a conspiracy theory. I'm like, first of all, no. Second of all, call me next time, because I'm calling you right now. Don't throw my name out there with misinformation.
How can we partner more closely with TRCC?
I've actually talked to them, and I think that's how I got them to go on the training tour with me, and I said, look, we need to show a united front right now, whether you agree with everything that's going on in the party or not. We need to work as closely together with all the groups. Now, again, through Texas, with people, I mean, you've got to forge those personal relationships. I think you all know that's why you're here. But reminding county chairs, precinct chairs too, that we are a big party. There's lots of different things going on, lots of ideas. But again, back to that, one person hears something and somebody else misconstrues it or chooses to based upon whatever they're doing in the role group. I would say, one, go back to the original source. John actually been trying to put together something like that because I know Jen's overwhelmed. That has been what I've been out doing the past 3 weeks, is training people on various things like that. Everything from, this is your data sources, you can get other data sources, this is the texting programs you can use, these are other texting programs, these are background check services you can use if you need to background check somebody. So we've got that stuff together. But again, if we have a list of who has what so far, and go from there. But I do think that your committee would be a fantastic resource for them to put together up-to-date county chair training, precinct chair training, the toolkits, the timelines, very short, sweet, kind of like, this is the triage kit, this is how you do it, and then as you get used to the job, you at, volume 2, volume 3, whatever. But we've got to get it down to a level where people will use it, because I don't care how expensive the system is, if nobody uses it. The other thing I'm gonna advocate for, and you'll probably hear this probably tomorrow, I guess tomorrow after my little spiel. I've already talked to some leadership. I really feel strongly that we need to have our own state database, not necessarily just GOP. If we can have our own database, perhaps more accurate, because there's a lot of inaccuracies with GOP, just because it's not updated until after the elections or whenever they decide they're gonna update it. Like, we have counties that don't even just do quite right, because their data's not updated. We need that so we can work it as a state, but also so every county then, again, can be given their database. At least it's a start, because every county should be adding, as they're out walking or giving volunteers or doing whatever, they should be adding their own locals to their database, because that way they have some control over what's going on.
And have access to it in the future.
And continuity, because that's the other thing we need to build. We need to build on a foundation so we can build, and not every time, whether it's a vice chairman or an SRC or a county chair, whoever switches out in the future, they need to have something left in the future. So that'll be something I'm advocating for. Leadership's kind of behind it right now. I'm gonna talk to Malcolm more specifically. I think he wants to make sure it's paid for, obviously, but there are a lot of people that are interested in donating professionally those services. And we've gotten access to some lists that cost-wise may be very reasonable, so we'll see what happens.
Well,
But just an idea.
If we, the most often I've heard any complaint was that the data is not updated very frequently.
It's not.
And that's,
So we're calling with old numbers, or we don't have emails anymore, they took those out of the GOP data center a year and a half ago. But yeah, that's,
well, if I can find somebody's voter registration number in the GOP data center, I put that in my county's website, I can look them up by
right.
good number. And that way I can see which is the outdated.
Well, see,
Because theirs is.
that's part of the reason to have every county having its own database, because then you can do locally. One thing Howard brought up when it talks,
But it doesn't identify which one.
well, but you can have, that's why you start building your list, but you can verify, in Harris County, the system we're using is using other public data points to verify some of the information. But you can also do like the third and fourth check that you guys are doing, which is actually look up the background check information, searches for X amount of dollars, usually not super crazy expensive for basic ones, and verify the data, because you will see the other points, and you might also be able to pull out an email, if you need an email. I still think emails are kind of slow right now, but for newsletters, county newsletters,
In
whatever.
Dallas County, we also took the early voting and election day downloads. Our county will allow us to download. It won't give us, it gives us name, address, GUID number, no contact information, but those are your hardcore, in the primary, those are your hardcore voters. And we compare those to our database.
And you should get your phone number.
Well, we don't get phone numbers from our county, and it varies. In Dallas County, we don't get.
You could match up the two by GUID number though.
If we can get their, information from the county, then we can look them up on GOP Data Center and possibly get a phone number from that. That's
I was
I
gonna say,
think you can automatically merge them.
You should be able to get phone
Oh,
numbers
yeah.
from GOP data.
spreadsheet.
No, but you should, from
Spreadsheet.
GOP data, you should be able to plug the phone number.
On GOP data, but they don't provide that from the county.
No, they don't.
That's what.
Okay, I misunderstood.
You get
that.
an address.
No,
That's it.
But if we can, like,
yeah, no, do the merge and, but these are the things, again, also trainings for county chairs going forward. Some kind of discussion about how you create your list. Again, going to the point, I agree with you completely. Buy basically a binder like this for training on something versus
Oh, yeah.
a binder that I know I can put in my purse or my backpack and say, yes, I'm gonna take this everywhere with me because I have a question. And the
Well, our
videos are
trainings-
great too now.
Our precinct chair trainings do have very beginning, basic, so we don't overwhelm them. Touch on the GOP Data Center and touch on our own website portal in Dallas County so that we can show them. We have trainings on video, we empower them to have tools available to them. So, we're always learning up in Dallas County and tweaking it. We have a fantastic webmaster who does it professionally, and he was part of our party with this wonderful website as his contribution to us. So we could not have done this without him. His name is Bill Anderton, but he also has taken our website from last August 1st. We had 400 hits a month on it. We expect to hit 70,000 hits this month.
Yeah, and that's
So-
the whole social media. And then, of course, there's a social media expert amongst any of you, God bless you. And please throw a little pivot in there too for the Facebook, Twitter,
That's an art form in itself.
well, but I mean, we may want to include something like that in the toolkit for the precinct chairs and the county chairs. Because a lot of them may not have any.
I ask questions sometimes to make sure I'm hearing correctly, but, so were you saying that, RPT is looking at something to replace, kind of improve the GOP data?
I wouldn't say
Would it be something
replace,
More of an in-house?
I am advocating very much, and John Beckmeyer knows, and some of the committee knows, and I just haven't had a chance to talk to Matt about it, have other problems we've been dealing with statewide. And I've told people I'm not gonna advocate too hard on this until after November 8th, because my time right now is making sure we get out of the vote and start working together a little bit, at least for now. Yes, I'm very much advocating that we have a secondary choice that we own as a state database, and then make sure that we can provide at least the basic, whatever we get as a state list. I think we should be able to divvy that up so that every county has X.
Yeah.
Whatever we have on our database, give it to the county and say, this is your baby base of your database that you are now gonna add to based upon your.
But we get emails though, because the state has our emails, they don't want to share those, and I totally understand their logic, but it sure makes our job harder in the county and the
Right.
precincts in order to build their own database, so.
Well, and I think I know why, because we've discussed in Harris County, there's an awful lot of money made by consultants who control the list, because they control X. But I think as a party, if we can, my vote is if we're gonna purchase the data for a statewide effort, I don't see why, I'm a big believer in democratizing data, especially if you're doing the work for free. I don't, so like, you want us to go do all this work, but you don't wanna give us the tools to do it. So I just have personally, let's build it, get it, deliver it. Every county, again, we're not here to tell every county what to do. We're trying to provide the tools, and then you run with it, or you sit on it, and if you don't, then we're gonna kind of nudge you, or you are gonna nudge them. Then I'll nudge them after that, but I think we have to start somewhere. And I think that the number one thing I hear from the rural counties is they don't have, especially if they're awake and paying attention now, because a lot of them are. With the articles coming out saying how important those rural counties are for the state, they're starting to feel a little bit of heat. They understand that they need something. They don't know how to fundraise. That might be another part of putting that toolkit a little bit, is the basics of fundraising. Like, go talk to your Republican companies in the area, go talk to your Republican donors, if you know who they are, how they are, find them. That's probably more 2022 versus 1996.
Well, this committee
Yeah,
doesn't
big
have
work.
all the cures between now and November 8th.
No, but you've got a key to like the whole state, you've got a lot, you can really make a huge, huge impact, no pressure,
No pressure.
no pressure. Just
To
do
that,
your
everybody, this is Tony Trevino, so she's the actual.
Oh, there you are, Tony. Glad to have you.
She's holding the Dems accountable on the board.
Yeah, she
I'm
is.
fine.
Yeah, or you'll get a call from me later about election integrity, we'll deal with Garrett first, but then.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can cure the scheduling, glitch, and because so many of us are very, very interested in legislative priorities, whether we're on the committee or not. We all, and some of our committee here are also in that committee too, so I would pick that one over this one too. It's so important what they're doing in there, so.
That's true, but I will say, because I agree with you, but I think all of them is important. If we can, just look at it this way, you all can build Texas, keep us red. So if we build it and give them the tools, then we can get our legislative priorities and everything else done. Because then we have the momentum, we have the methodology of getting our message out, we have people who want to listen. So
Well, I
y'all are
had
super
asked-
important.
I had asked, a couple of years ago how, if what we were doing here could be email blasted out to the state, and they say it's such a huge task
To do what?
to send out emails statewide. You have to send them in waves.
I don't
I
know
don't know
what,
if that's
To the chairman
still
or to
From,
everybody?
from the state to everybody in Texas, of what we're doing here, that, you know, to help. And I think Jen, you know, has a huge handle on most of it in her emails to the county chairs that she sends out. They're very, very informative, and they're very specific, and they're very regular, anticipated by a lot of county chairs, but.
I think I don't know what system they're using, but I do know on the campaign side, we are sending out, maybe we're down on Facebook or this yet. Say you're dealing with 50,000, Harris County is probably about 50,000 right now. Ours go out in waves because you only, after a certain X, whether our system or the system receiving it, I don't know enough about it, I'm not the person, it'll consider it spam. And also, just in general, a lot of conservative groups I belong to are saying a lot of their stuff's getting sent not by their server, but by the Democratic, whatever. It's putting everything in spam. A lot of their stuff from all organizations is going into spam automatically. So besides that issue, and then if we're sending out, say again, 50,000 for Harris County out, which is a small fraction, but those are our active list people, then it has to go out in bundles, so it doesn't
Well,
trip
if you're
whatever.
sending it out to the county chairs, then,
It should be 254 people.
yeah.
I've
but
sent it out
how
to
do you
254.
ensure that they are then disseminating them,
Oh,
you know?
You're not.
You can't.
You can't.
And you cannot.
You can't. The best you can do, is see if tag it to see if they've opened it. That's the best we can do, because I agree, I know where you're going.
This is why it's so
That's sort of
important for our county chairs to have a website.
I agree.
Because that's where they're
And
gonna
knowing
find
what
out.
to do. What do you guys think? I'm just throwing this out, just kind of twittering through my brain real quick as we get ready to do it. I don't want to take it with me, but knowing I talked about this with precinct chair training. So we take a experienced precinct chair and pair them with a new precinct chair. What if we had buddy system in Texas for precinct chairs?
Well, yes.
Along with the SRECs, but literally say,
You do it
within
within your
your
Within your
SD, and again, goes back to the regional meetings I want to have as the party around Texas, because I want to get party leadership, SREC, county chairs in that area, and even grassroots in the area eventually. I want them all to have kind of regional meetings if we can, so that, one, they start knowing each other, the communication lines open up, and hopefully they can share ideas a little bit better. That's kind of pie in the sky down the road a little bit, but I think, again, if the classrooms, we build it, they will come,
Yeah.
and it's proven they will show up.
Well, that's
People
what I
want
do
information.
in my SD. I had so many new people. I would get a central location and treat them to lunch, invite 2 newbies with one person that had at least 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
under her and his belt.
Yeah.
And so they could talk about their issues, and then they know each
I don't
other.
feel strange picking up a phone.
Yeah, and so I just did that all over so that they could get to know each other.
You want to be head of that part?
Well-
I heard that was coming.
No, I've learned from the best,
Well-
so you want to do that, right?
I think that would be an extension of the SREC.
I do actually.
I mean, I send out a monthly newsletter, I'm on the road it's about relationships, basically.
Mhm.
And then building relationships, and of course, in the rural counties, there's an age issue. I think our toughest thing is, well, I have two horrible issues. One is the tech gap,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to even talk about because I'm not, I can't even do a spreadsheet, okay? No judging. But then also I have the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about, is
Flash.
the clash going on in beautifully red counties, where if they were in a blue county and they were fighting the enemy, your focus is on the enemy. But in this election cycle, it's strange. It's almost like their enemy, the enemy is amongst themselves. And
Is
Been there for a long
They're
time.
circle shooting
And
each other.
it's-
Circular
it's
firing
very
squad.
discouraging.
It's hard, because, yeah, these are the
And
fires.
We're having the same problem though, even in our little blue counties, our small parties, they're also fighting amongst one another.
And nobody talks about it.
Well, we should.
It's like we need an intervention or something.
Well, let's say, whatever, I'm new, but yeah, this is all I'm doing is putting out. I mean, I was literally called by Sylvanus, Texas to say, hey, can you come negotiate the peace settlement between, I would name the groups, this group, and this group. And I literally said, well, let's get the leaders of those organizations, we'll go to dinner, in fact, it's gonna be a long time up there. We'll go to dinner, get to know each other, find out where we can order. Well, that turned into a 7-county rally, which actually worked, and I think helped. But I will give credit to the person, he was kind of like, well, I said, I should call you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, who you have problems with? Or is it somebody I knew? I said, okay, well, if I called those people, it's like, I felt like I was in high school, will you talk
Yeah.
to my friends over here, if you're okay with that, and we'll all go in the room, and, go dance together, and that's what it was like. But that's fine, if that's what it takes right now to get us moving. But I think that's where the SRECs are incredibly valuable. You know your areas, or you know them really well. If you don't know them already, I'm sure you do because you get elected. But bridging those gaps, at least, being the glue that holds the state together, 'cause that's really, and I don't want everyone to agree, that'd be really boring, first of all, and it's not who we are. But I can tell you, we're still gonna agree more on our Republican buddies than putting idiot socialists in there. So, that's, you just have to.
We have to work together.
Mom talk, yep, exactly, or dad talk, whatever.
And I have a question, because I was gonna bring up mentorship and trying to set up some kind of between the older and the newer, so I think that's great that you brought that up. But also because there is so much bickering, inter-party bickering, should we also focus some on getting some mediation training, us, or people in the party, so that we can go in and try to mediate some of these?
All right, so you know this, because you're a federal prosecutor.
Yes, but remember, I didn't mediate.
Yeah.
Well, I
You
know
go to
it's
jail
very
for this
different.
long.
I know, a friend of mine is a former something or other, but I've seen him mediate, so I just laughed out, like, you're being mom dead. Is there a, I don't know if it would really be a lawyer class, but is there some kind of business friendly, I don't want a team building thing, I actually sat through that actually with one of these guys
Right.
that came in.
But more like a mediation?
More like mediation, or how do you settle disputes kind of thing, rather than team building. Team building's one thing,
Yeah,
but we need to have
No,
that,
it's
put out
literally
the
mediation.
bombs.
yes, and I do believe that there is such a thing, there's a whole branch of law that covers that.
No, there is, but sometimes when I've seen those mediations for business stuff, they're definitely going in and settling a specific dispute. The ideological stuff, I don't know if that would be more,
Well, like in
whatever y'all
business,
think,
it's
but something.
how you deal with difficult people,
Yeah.
right?
Well, maybe, but see, that's not, to me, that's not really mediation, that's
Because each
psychology
side
skills.
thinks
That's
Isn't
people
that most
skills.
of what we're talking about? I mean,
Well,
we're
I
talking
mean, whatever
about-
y'all think.
Dealing with
I mean, we're talking
Well,
about
yeah,
really
yeah.
legal stuff.
You have to agree to disagree, but
Respectfully.
we're all going to work together
Right.
to accomplish this goal.
Right, no, it's
I
the mom
mean, it's
talk.
just, it is the mom talk. That's all that it is. That's all that it is, it's just that simple.
But to your point, I think that perhaps some kind of either mediation / people skills thing, sounds corny, but it might be worth it. Or at least give it. Or the areas that have, again, on that spreadsheet, big problem, and put whatever it is, or, perceived problem, or has a problem with this, or wants this. I mean, if we have some kind of database to go back and refer to, it would also be a way for you all to talk about metrics and all these committees to try to figure out, this is where we restart, this is what we've accomplished. First year, second year, we've accomplished even more, but have some way to track our progress, because when we go to ask donors for money, they wanna know, what are we spending it on? What are your metrics? Are we being successful? And I'm gonna, the nerd in me, I'm gonna say that to a lot of the committees, because, and including my own financing, they wanna know what we want the money for, how we're gonna spend it, and what are signs of success. So if we can show that we started out with X amount of counties, didn't have hardly anything, we've got them all trained up, we've got most of the precinct chairs filled, we've got them, set up with websites, and now they know how to use it, they know how to run their, county executive committee meetings.
Also, please, we're about 3 minutes running over, we only got about 10 minutes before our next thing, but I also wanted to just call the attention of our precinct chairs' terms have just expired in June, and through transition, this is a normal ebb and flow, replacing precinct chairs who have stepped down and being replaced by incoming ones. So our numbers go down in June, and then we start rebuilding again. So, yeah, we're
We should change that.
I think we should.
But,
Anyway, thank you guys so much for attending.
But yes, if you all run into any really big problem counties that you're aware of, let me know, just shoot me an email and say, this is a heads up.
We know where to
No,
find
ours actually, Howard, trust me, when you compare it to the rest of the state, we have an issue because we have a lot of blue, but Harris County, for
Your
most part,
county's very well run.
it's
And
moving
I'm
along.
saying, I give it all up to Chairman Siegel.
Yeah.
She's done a fabulous
Yeah,
job.
I told people, I said, you can
thank you.
complain about Harris, but if
So,
Harris is functioning, it's
all in
good.
favor?
It's
It's
city.
functioning, and I just think it's fabulous.
James,
Uh-huh.
no,
I can't complain about my county at all, I really blue.
Yeah. The meeting's already adjourned.
If I can
Raise
walk
this-
for an hour, I just, I know every Saturday.
I wanted to raise, you know what, it's,
Oh, yeah. I forgot to check. Sorry about that.
This
is my first SREC.
All SREC members are also county chairman, shall be voting as official members of this committee. So every single SRC person is also a county chairman. Is a member of this meeting and is supposed to attend.
Good.
So that's what the,
Well, there you go.
and
that's what the.
Every SREC person who's also a county chair, so to speak.
it doesn't have,
It says all SRC members shall be county chairman, shall be voting ex officio members of the committee.
so.
Which means they're supposed to be.
If they're here,
You said something.
they're here, if you're not,
Then it says all other county chairmen shall be non-voting ex officio members of this committee. So all county chairmen of the state of Texas are members of ex officio members.
But you mean if they act on it, or if they?
Right, that's kind of my,
You just,
I wanted to raise this earlier.
Yeah,
that when they.
that would be great.
there are several county chairs who were board members last year, and they attended, and that's where I learned a lot of these things.
And my question is this like the intent, is this supposed to be here?
Influence the county chair or the.
It's not in
Guru.
See, because I'm on the rules committee, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I should address this.
Maybe
Now they know that it's.
That's why I'm going
In
next.
what, I mean, in what way? How do you want to address it?
Well, that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up before that.
It's.
We started talking about, not
You
giving.
can use Gmail.
Every SD
And the.
is an ad hoc or ex officio
It
member.
says all SRC members who are also county chairman are voting ex officio members of this committee.
Account.
Of this committee.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
this committee.
I was thinking individual
And
counties.
every SRC is a county chair also.
Just,
Which
invite
probably about
all the
10
county
other people
chairs to
at
come to
least.
this meeting when we
Which
have
also
SREC
lets
meeting.
them know.
Yeah, I'm just guessing, but,
Yeah.
Or tomorrow's Zoom
and
meeting.
then it says all county chairmen.
We actually.
So all, there's 252 of the 254, all county chairmen are non-voting ex officio members of this committee.
Not only.
So-
but also-
Interesting.
So,
My
I
question,
sent our new
You
manual
could,
to
what I'm
my
saying,
county
you
chair.
could set up a calendar
And he didn't even.
email account. That is,
no, I'm just saying, basically,
Yeah.
ask them.
My question is do we want
Yeah.
all-
SREC
every single
to
county chair,
TCT.
Uh-huh,
Well,
go ahead.
let's say Texas to be, or do we want, would y'all like to me to broach the rules of
That's
engagement?
right, see if that says something,
Maybe
county chair
choose
sent something
10 of them
to
or 5 of
that,
them or something,
for those
just like.
so you could just see if they're doing something.